what have you learned from last week? It was a bit of a humbling experience, I'd imagine, coming up against a side of that quality. And what can you do tomorrow to get a more positive result?
I think the first thing is looking at ourselves. We underperformed last week. We didn't reach the levels that we think we can, we believe we can in this type of game. But also at the same time we come up against a good Liverpool side, so I think what it shows you is if you underperform and come up against a good team, then you will get punished, and that proved to be the case. I've watched this competition over the last few years and I've seen these types of things happen before, but when it's you in that situation, it's certainly not a nice scenario. So it's something we certainly want to make sure tomorrow we perform better and give ourselves a much better chance to get a result at the end of it.
How much has it been a learning curve, do you think, for the boys, not only taking on Liverpool but the likes of Napoli and Ajax as well, different styles of football?
Well, just like you've said, it's absolutely 3 different types of games. If we isolate Liverpool in its own, the way that they come after you when they don't have the ball is really clear. It's evident. It's not a surprise. We knew that would happen. But that's the type of scenario that we have to be better in. We have to trust ourselves and believe that we can play through that pressure. We knew the spaces that we wanted to get to. We just didn't do that often enough, and that obviously and ultimately causes some problems when we had possession of the ball. Out of possession, I thought there was times we got them where we wanted to be, but they managed to break through our pressure either by a quick 1-2 or us not making contact at the right time. So we knew that level they could get to. I do think that is, out of the 3 games, probably the most challenging one that we've had so far, but with 3 still to go, and it's not to say that the other 2 teams won't present further challenges along the way as well. So listen, we have to be ready. We have to be at the top of our game to make sure we get a performance. But as I say, I think the lads, they know there's 3 different types of games. They know that they've had to think differently. They've got to think really, really quickly in this level of game, because if you don't, ultimately, say, it can cause you problems.
Yeah, and can I ask as well about a few of the young boys signing new deals last week, David, Adam Devine, Robbie McCrory and Connor Allen as well. How pleasing is that to see them getting signed up on longer term deals? And what's it been like watching them progress through those youth ranks? And do you think they can cement themselves as Rangers first team regulars in the years ahead?
I think you see young lads coming through the academy, and as you say, getting longer term deals as a head closer to the first team environment. It's obviously something that's really satisfying when you've worked with them over the years. Robbie was here when I first came into the club back in 2015, and Robbie's done well. He's progressed. He's had his loan opportunities. He's obviously made his debut with the first team in some high profile fixtures last season, showing that he's done well. Obviously I'm not worked as close with him as the goalkeeping staff, but I'm really pleased to see him do that and continue where he's at the moment. The other 2, obviously Adam is very recently been part of the B team squad, and he's now got himself constantly training with the first team, so he's always putting himself underneath the coaching staff's eyes, so he's obviously earned that opportunity, and recently obviously got himself into the Scotland 21 set up as well. Then you look at Connors is recently kind of moved from or bouncing between centre half and centre midfield and performing equally well in both. He's predominantly played at centre back this season, and again another one that's in my opinion has done really well. I think last week in the game against Liverpool was probably one of our higher performers within that game as well, and also recently managed to get himself a call up to the Scotland 19 squad, having played a new position. So I think when you look at that, a lot of good development there. There's others hopefully coming behind that as well that we'll be able to talk about over the next few weeks and months as well.
Super. Cheers, David.
No worries.
Yourself, Mark?
Hi, David. Thought you've been a little bit tough on yourself and your boys about the game last week. Although it was a difficult game, I thought the main difference was really in what I could almost call it flashes of excellence from Liverpool. In terms of coaching the lads, I mean, how do you approach that to say some of these guys have got something that, most people don't have because, Liverpool being the team they are can attract that kind of quality? How do you get them up and get them ready for, absolutely concentrating for 90 minutes?
Well, Mark, I think you're right, and they have got some special players in there, of course they have. But I do think, and I understand what you're saying in terms of being harsh on the guys, but I think we've always got to look at ourselves and work out where we can do better. And I don't think we're brave enough and able to play through areas of the pitch that I believe we can and have done over many years. So I do think we can challenge ourselves to be better in those moments. Understand that we know we're going to get pressed, but we just have to play quicker. obviously Liverpool, when they have the ball, they've got certain movements and certain rotations that can cause you problems if you don't understand how it's happening. So we have to get that better on the day tomorrow and try and make sure that when we don't have the ball, that we know where they're going to try and hurt you, we know how to try and confront that and make sure we're a better place to deal with that. And then again, off the back of that, I think you also seen last week as well, when we were calm and composed and believe in ourselves, we created 2 or 3 really good opportunities within the game. Obviously what you do, you want to create more, but against that level of opposition, if the ones that you are taking, we certainly want to be more ruthless and clinical, which then hopefully makes them think differently about us at the same time as well. So I think we've got to look at both, and we have to be realistic and say they're a good team, but we've also got to believe that what we have within our group as well, that we can go and compete and make sure that within that performance we can give ourselves a chance to go and get a positive result at the end of it as well.
Obviously, that's the challenge on the pitch, but considering where we are domestically in Scotland, with a lot of the boys been involved in internationals, now this European dimension, how much of a challenge has been that for yourself and your coaching team to take those 3 separate areas and look at them in a season, with the different selections you've got, and people been away and perhaps, although maybe getting better, the lack of footage to actually to scout the opposition?
No, I think we set up this season, we knew the levels or the different types of programmes we were going to be involved in, with the league programme, the different cups we're involved in, the youth league, and then obviously hopefully a number of players are going to be international. So you kind of know that's going to happen. You have to prepare differently for each of the different games. We do tend to get quite a bit of footage on the opposition. We will spend, obviously, different levels of games will require different amounts of feedback to the players, but equally at the same time, we'll try and make sure any awareness we create of the opposition and what they do when they don't have the ball, what they do when they do have the ball, it's also to try and counter us and what we do in those scenarios. So we make it as much as we can about us. A lot of time we'll get that right. Sometimes you'll get challenged and maybe 1 or 2 things will happen within the game that you didn't expect. But that's the joys of football. It happens not just at our level, it happens at senior level and first team level as well. So the players are going to be on international duty, they have to go and learn and listen to a different way of playing, because the international squads won't always play the same. In fact, they won't play the same as us. So they'll have to learn and think and understand what's expected of them in those environments, which is good for them, because when they get to first team level, whether it's at Rangers or somewhere else, then they have to listen to different instructions and different sort of guidance within the game. So it is good for them, but when they come back to us again, it's about trying to fit in what we want it to look like, and we might amend and make 1 or 2 different adjustments within each games, again depending on what challenges we think we might get, but all at the same time being realistic to the opposition, but at the same time still trying to put trust in what we are and what we can be within each of these games.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Can I ask a quick one, David? Sorry, before you go. The first team manager said that Alex Lowry is back training. Is there a chance he could feature for the B team, you boys, tomorrow? Is it too soon for that?
No, he won't be involved in our game tomorrow. It's just slightly too soon for that. There has been talk about looking ahead and the fixtures that have come up to try and work out where he may get some opportunities to try and get him back into it. But he's back training again. He's looking good, but he's just still there's that bit of care got to be taken to make sure when he does come back into the games that he's able to go and put yourself into that environment full on without any concerns at all in terms of even just his general fitness. Because what you don't want to do is put him into that environment without having his fitness levels, endurance levels to a point where he can go and sustain his performance levels. So hopefully it's not too far away. And as I say, we're in conversations with the staff to work out where that might be.